Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate the high availability for internet access and the load balancing for this network lab in my basement. So again, we have a BPFire HA pair here, BPFire 2 and the BPFire 3. So we are going to use this virtual IP as the gateway for the backend server and for the Wi-Fi devices. And we are also going to use the this virtual IP for a load balancer virtual IP. So now let's go to the lab here. So, okay, let's check our current collection, okay? So this is my iMac with Wi-Fi access. So right now, it is using the .1.3 as the default gateway, which is BPFire 3, okay? So BPFire 2 has, we can come here to check the DHCP for the BPFire. So you can see here, the BPFire 2 has the router IP 1.2 and BPFire 3 has 1.3 as a router IP. So right now the client, the iMac client with Wi-Fi access use the 1.3 as the default router. But in high availability, we wanted to use a virtual IP, like a shared IP as a default gateway. So when say BPFire 3 reboot, the client Wi-Fi device does not need to change the default gateway IP. It used this default. It used this shared virtual IP as default gateway, and this default gateway IP will be allocated to BPFire 2 device if this BPFire 3 crashes or reboot. Okay, so let's do that demonstration here. So first we go to the enable load balancer here. So we needed to set up the virtual IP for the default gateway. But let's use so this is on the green interface. Needed to give a /mask. So for the redundancy of virtual load balancer, we also needed to create the virtual IP 68. So this is on the red interface. Okay, now we created two virtual IP, one for the internal Wi-Fi network or local area network, and one for the internet. So we're going to do the same on this BPFire 2. Enable load balancer, set up the virtual IP 24 on the green interface. Add virtual IP 68 on the red 0 interface. Okay, so now we needed to go to the high availability here. So right now the keep alive D is stopped. We needed to configure the high availability. Let's go to the BPFire 3 device first. We want to use it as a master device by default. So here we can, so you can enable the high availability on red interface or green interface, or you can enable high availability on both interface to share the. So let's enable on the red interface with virtual router ID 99. So make sure this virtual router ID is the same on both devices. So we give a priority 101. This one, since it's master, it should be higher than the other one. And we give a password. This is the peer device. So this is the IP address on the BPFire 2. So we need to select this virtual IP we just created as the virtual address. So we also want to enable the high availability for green interface, and also as a master with 101, and so its peer address is the BPFire 2 on the green 0 interface. We also select this one. So this will be our virtual IP for the default gateway IP. Okay, let's select it and save. Okay, so now we can, once we have this configuration, we can enable Keep Alive D. So now it's running on the BPFire 3. We are going to do the same on the BPFire 2. So we use as a backup, and the router ID should be the same. And this we also select the virtual IP. So we also enable on the green interface, select the virtual IP. We save, and we enable the Keep Alive D. So now it's running. Okay, so now we can go to the terminal and check the high availability status. Okay, so we can grab VRRP messages. So this is on BPFire 3, and so you see it's in master state. So the master state should have the our virtual IP address assigned to the interface. So you can see here the virtual 1.1 is assigned to green 0, and the virtual .068 is assigned to red 0 interface. So let's check the BPFire 2, which is a backup device, and so it should be a backup device, and it should not have the virtual IP, so just its own IP address, no 1.1, so that's the virtual IP. Right now it's on the master device. Okay, so now we have this virtual IP configured. We also need to go to the DHCP server to change the setting. So we need to change our router IP to the virtual IP 1.1 as the default gateway. We can also change the default DNS server to the virtual IP. So we save the setting, and we also go to BPFire 2 to do the same here. We change it to 1.1. DNS also change it to 1.1. So it's the same setting as on the BPFire 3. Okay. Now, since we changed the DHCP setting for our iMac, we needed to let's get a reconfigured. So let's disable the Wi-Fi, and then let's enable the Wi-Fi again. So by default, it's selected the Wi-Fi signal in the basement. So now we can go to check the default gateway. So it should change it to 1.1. It is a bit slow, so let's check it on the terminal. So this is the iMac. Let's check the, so you can see now the default gateway is changed to 1.1 instead of 1.3. So this is a virtual IP as a default gateway. So now let's go pin the google.com. So we have internet access, right? And now let's reboot this BPFire 3 to stimulate like a reboot or crash. So let's reboot. So we reboot it, the BPFire 3. So now if we check the BPFire 2, it should become a master state from backup state. And we should also, BPFire 2 should now have the virtual IP moved to the BPFire 2. So this is a virtual default gateway IP moved to BPFire 2 device. Also the 68 virtual for load balancer also moved to BPFire 2. So let's check our pin. See, you can now see our pin still works, right? And the BPFire 3 is rebooted, but the internet connection, like the pin to google.com, still works because the BPFire 2 has already taken over the master role, right? So we can actually also test the load balancer here. So let's set up the load balancer that we forgot. Let's say LB1. We use a virtual IP here. Port 80. Endpoint is the 9, I believe. Yeah, I think I needed to make sure my my backend is okay, so it has the correct setting. No monitor here. So we added the load balancer and okay, so pin still works. Let's log into a external device and then to access the virtual IP of our load balancer IP. Okay, so curl. So this is a virtual IP for the load balancer services. So it works. And then now let's see if our device BPFire 3. So it's still rebooting. Not up yet. So right now I only have BPFire 2 as the master device. Yeah, it's still not up yet. And our pin still keep working because the BPFire 2 is right now the master device for internet access and for load balancer. Okay, it's still booting. BPFire 3. Okay, now it's up. Let's see. Okay, so now it's rebooted, and we can check the high availability status here. So now once it's booted, it becomes the master state because it has higher priority. Now this BPFire 3 should have the virtual IP. Okay, so now BPFire 2 should become a backup again. See that virtual IP is removed, right? Let's see. Right, so it's now back to the backup state because it has a lower priority, and now the BPFire 3 is the master device. So let's check our ping. So it still works. And also let's check. I forgot to set up the load balancer on the BPFire 3. So let's set it up. Yeah, so LB1 port 80 172 80 off. So now if we access the from the external client, we should have the load balancer should also work. Why is the password not correct? 101, yes. Where? Oh, I have capital on. So this is an external client. Let's access the virtual IP. So it works, right? So we can actually like change the setting here. Let's change the setting here to do a test. So this is on BPFire 2. Let's give a higher priority as 102. So now the BPFire 2 will become the master device because it has higher priority number. So this would be an easier test. Okay, both 102. Now we can check the state. So now it's a master state, BPFire 2, BPFire 3, now it's backup state. So BPFire 2 should have the virtual IP. And let's do the load balancer test. Let's first check the internet access, pinggoogle.com from iMac. So it works, right? Let's log in an external client and check the virtual IP. It works, right? So yeah, and this is a demonstration on the high availability for BPFire with both internet access and load balancer. Yes, thanks for watching.